Good day. How is everybody this fine Monday, May 20th, 2024? Hello, Denise. Good to see you. You are good. You are consistent. And of course, CJ The Rock. Sister Jeannie texted me last night, and she was in Alabama. She got into Alabama. I don't know how far she continued to travel, but she should be at my daughter's today sometime. And I asked that she be given the best bed so that she can sleep for a while. That's quite a trip. So we're going to continue on with St. John of the Cross, Dark Night of the Soul. And hopefully things are going well with you all. I did pick some lilacs that are in bloom right there with my, let's use my finger. It's really, really nice. On a sadder note though, two of the baby ducks that we put outside in the cage, they got found by raccoons. They are the nastiest things. So we lost two. We only have the one left now. My wife is quite upset. And so these are the trials in life and the farm. We'll decide what we're going to do. We put her or him, I hope it's a her, for our big duck's sake, who we lost two of the other girls last year, and that we only had the Drake left. And I'm hoping it's not a Drake and a Drake. So this is so anyway, I put the baby duck with baby chicks again inside the chicken coop, and they'll be safe there. Okay, let's get started with morning prayers and into the lesson. And I hope well, it is what it is out there in the world as far as what's going to happen to Harrison. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of his name. Harrison Butker. Yeah, they're quite on him about his normalcy. Such a crazy. And then I also got a glimpse of some simple gentleman living in Appalachia without electricity, and he was happy and skinny and just, he was single. Maybe I should go recruit him. Speaking of priests, anybody with an interest, please contact me. Without that, I'm getting older. Need some replacement. All right. In nomine Deum, matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany, and in Catholic contemplation, humbly adore the Divine Family. Most holy and venerable Trinitarian Theophany, one Divine Family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to attain the pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Trinitarian Theophany for the many graces that we receive and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven. O Trinitarian Theophany, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good. And let us beg of God the graces which are necessary to us. O Trinitarian Theophany, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O God, Our Lady, O Deum Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all, because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. A couple of quick notes on one of the detoxing products that I really use a lot is Homozon, Homozon, and it was a product of magnesium and oxygen fused together in some patented way or some special way or whatnot. And it was very effective for bringing massive amounts of oxygen into the body, kind of like what a hyperbaric chamber does, but only greater and without the pressure and all that sort of thing. Unfortunately, the third supplier that I found no longer carries it, and I don't know whether it's just because the manufacturer, the stock is finally being depleted that was made. And this is their tactic, how they find when they find a product that is extremely effective against all dis-ease, they somehow go in there and they take it down and stop it. And that's what happened in this case. These people were not very good with business, but they were very good with science. And they were convinced to form a corporation, which won't be allowed under the Catholic monarchy, by the way. And then this corporation basically took them over and fired them and kicked them out, and then shut down production. The scientists lost their homes, lost their equipment, lost all their investment and everything. And that's the diabolical way that these people continue. So anyway, I did, like I mentioned with CJ there with the sulfur, I've been taking it and I've found that when I mix it with honey, you can either use honey or molasses, and then I add kefir to it, because I was having a problem with the sulfur just settling to the bottom and being really hard to actually consume if you have a taste issue. In other words, if you can't tolerate different tastes. So the kefir works excellent. It keeps it in suspension, and my son has been taking it, and he's also been given a product called Liver Life, and it seems, let's keep our fingers crossed, to be knocking out those parasites. All right. And again, that's not medical advice, it's what I do. Okay, shoes, Shews, how this terrible night is purgatory, and how therein the divine wisdom illuminates men on earth with the same illumination which purges and illuminates the heavenly beings. Okay, they use the word angels, okay, but we don't use the word angels. Angels are strictly assigned to the fallen ones, okay? We use saints or heavenly beings. From what has been already said, we shall see how this obscure night of loving fire, like as its purging operations are effected in darkness, so also in darkness is the soul gradually set afire. We shall also see that just as the predestined are purged in the other life with dark and material fire, they are purged and cleansed in this life with loving, dark, and soulful fire. For this is the difference, that there they are cleansed by fire, and here they are cleansed and illuminated by love. For the pure of heart are called by Deum Jesum Christum sanctified, the which is as if he had called them lovers. For sanctification is given for nothing less than love. And that the soul is purged in the illumination of this fire of loving wisdom, for God never gives mystical wisdom without love, since love itself infuses it. For this obscure contemplation inspires in the soul love and wisdom conjointly, to each one according to his need and capacity, enlightening the soul and purging her of her ignorance. Hence we likewise infer that these souls are purged and illuminated by the wisdom of the Trinitarian Theophany, which purges the heavenly beings of their blindness, emanating from God through the highest hierarchies to the lowest, and thence to men. Whence it follows that the higher and inferior souls, inasmuch as they are closer to God, are more thoroughly purged and clarified with a more drastic purgation, and that those who come last will receive this illustration after a more attenuated and distant fashion. Whence it follows that since man is inferior to the heavenly beings, when God, the Trinitarian Theophany, wills to give him this contemplation, he is obliged to receive it after his more limited fashion, and with pain and suffering. Because the light of the Trinitarian Theophany, which illuminates the heavenly being, making him shine with splendor and flame resplendently with love, he being a pure soul disposed for such an infusion. Man, on account of his impurity and weakness, it, as a rule, illuminates, as has been said above, in darkness, suffering, and conflict. Like the sun which shining on a weak eye causes it pain and anguish, until the same fire of love shall have soulfully and etherealized him by its purificative influence, and enables him to receive this amorous influx with entire serenity, after the fashion of the heavenly beings. He, being now purged, as with the Trinitarian Theophany's assistance, we shall presently set forth. For souls there are which even in this life have received more perfect illumination than the heavenly beings. But in the meanwhile, he receives this contemplation and loving impression in the conflict and passionate longing we have said. Not always, however, doth the soul continue to feel this blazing forth and passionate love and longing. For when this soulful purgation at first begins, the entire strength of this divine fire is chiefly directed towards drying up and seasoning the timber of the soul, rather than in giving her heat. But when at last this fire begins to burn within the soul, very often doth she feel this flame and heat of love. Now, as the intellect becomes increasingly purged by means of this darkness, it sometimes happens that this mystical and amorous theology, besides inflaming the will, likewise wounds the neighboring power of intellect, enlightening it with a certain divine cognition and luster so sweetly and divinely that the will by its assistance becomes marvelously fervent in this divine fire of love, blazing up within her in flames of living light, after such a fashion that now with the lively knowledge which is given her, it appears to the soul a living fire. And this glow of love, with the union of these two powers, the intellect and the will, is for the soul a priceless and delicious thing. For it is certain that in this obscurity she has already attained the beginnings of the perfection of the union of love she hopes for. And therefore doth she not arrive at this touch of so sublime a sense and love of the Trinitarian Theophany, unless she has previously gone through many trials and a large share of the purgation. But for other and lower grades, which are more generally met with, so great a purgation is not needed. We'll stop there, and tomorrow will be of other soothing and tender effects effected on the soul by this obscure night of contemplation. 1/3 of the book left. Let's begin Mass. Deum vobiscum, quoque pote. Oremus. O Trinitarian Theophany, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired. Who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum Hanc Immaculatam Hostiam, quam ego indignus famulus tuus offere tibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus, et negligentiis meis et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed pro omnibus fidelibus Catholicorum, vivis atque defunctis ut mihi et illis, proficiat ad salutem. Deum qui humanae substantiae dignitatem mirabilite condidisti, et mirabilius reformasti, da nobis spiruis atquae et vini mysterium eius divinitatis esse consortes qui humanitatis nostrae fieri dignatis, est pater caps, Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem, salutaris tuum deprecantes, clementium ut conspectu divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra totius mundi salute, cum adore suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito suscipiamur a te Deum Iesum Christum, et sec fiat sacrificium nostrum in conspecto tuo hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum maternam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificit oblata prosquendo, et accapere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe, Sancta Trinitas Hanc oblationem, quam tibi afferimus a memoriam passiones, resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum maternam nostrae, et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et omnium Sanctorum, et idis proficiat ad norem nobis autem ad salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere dignenter in caelis, quorum memoriam agimus in teris pedeendum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meum ac vestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat op Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis ad laudem et gloriam nominis sui ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te, sursum corda, habemus ad Deum, gratias agamus. Deum nostrum dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementissimi Mater, et Pater, Deum maternam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum, Filium Tuum, Deum nostrae supplices, rogamus ac petimus. Uti accepta habeas et sanctificas hic sanctam sacrificiam ilibata. In primisque tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodiri, adonare, et regere digneris toto orbe terrarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famorum caeturum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We pray for Katie and Gage, Mindy and Clarette, Neil and Earl Lively, Maria Josephina Mose, Henry, Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Mark Jr., Casey, Mr. Nobody, Ann Bultink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Jenna, Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, John Cahill, Marie and the Lineweber family, the Dasco, Nye, Tafor, Began families, and Wolf families. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sedevacantist Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, canceling, human trafficking of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange, and no usury. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask for a reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity with a sound monetary system for support of that Catholic family. We pray that Deum Matronam Nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum destroys the satanic document of Vatican law that is the Jewish Talmud, that you destroy Rome and the Vatican and recognize the authority of the Catholic Church to be in Fatima, Portugal. We ask you to release the souls controlled by the demons Lilith and Asmodeus. We ask you to block the passage of any so-called pandemic treaty by the WHO based on lies and aimed at removing the Divine Family's children their freedom to travel and move around. We also ask Deum Matronam Nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum with this Mass to please save or transfer the souls from under the dominion of any Jew or Freemason that gives support to Israel. And we pray for the continued safe travel of those doing God's work, the Trinitarian Theophany's work, like Sister Jeannie. All this we ask in accordance with the Trinitarian Theophany's holy and divine will. Et omnium circumstantium quorum tibi fides cognita est et nota devotio, pro quibus tibi afferimus, vel qui tibi offerunt hoc sacrificium laudis proces, suisque omnibus pro redemptione arumarum suarum, prospe salutis et inculamitatis suae, tibique redunt vota sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et memoriam venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Beatorum martyrium tuorum Papae Sancti Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum, quorum meditis precibusque concedas, ut in omnibus protectiones tuae muniamur auxilio. Per eundum Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblationum te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratum acceptabilemque facere digneris, ut nobis corpum et sanguim fiat delictissimi filium tuum, Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pater etor, accepit panem in sancta ac venerabilis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in caelum ate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, frege didique lumnis sui dicens, accipite et maducate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simili modo postquam ceremonia est, accipiens et hoc praeclarum, calicem in sancta ac venerabilis manus suas item tibi gratias agens. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum consecravit, dedique lumnis sui dicens, accipite et bibite ex omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum. Hic quotescumque feceritis in meum memoriam facetis. Unde et memores Deum nos servitui, sede plebs tua sancta eiustem Christum filium tuum, Deum nostrae, tam beatae passiones nec non et eb in fedis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis offerimus praeclare maiestati tuae de tuis donis ac datis, supraque propitio ac sereno vutu respicere digneris. Supplices, te rogamus, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ubi haec preferi per manus tuum ut quodquod, ex hoc altaris, participatione sacrosanctum Deum Filium Tuum, corpus et sanguine, subserimus omni sanctificatione, caelesti et gratia repeamur, per indum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Mona McCarthy, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quiscentibum, locum refugere lucis pacis, et indulgerias deprecamur, per indum Christum Deum nostrum, per quem haec omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas. Sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis, et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Matram omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Dea matronam nostrae, materam Deum Iesum Christum misericordia nobis, peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libere nos, quaesimus, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis praeteritis, praesentibus, et futuris, et intercedente, beata et gloriosa, semper Deum matronam nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis, da propitios pacem in diebus nostris, ut ope misericordiae tuae, aduiti et peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per indum Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apote. Haec cum extio consecratio, corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat accipientibus nobis in ad salutam aeternam. Pax tecum, et quoque apote. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, quaperante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper inhaerare mandatis, et a te numquam separare permittas, qui cum eodem Dea matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum vivis et regnam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indignus sumere praesumo non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentum mentis et corporis, et ad me delam, percipiendam, qui vivis et regnas cum Deum matronam nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem caelestem adcipiam et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Dea matronam nostrae non sunt dignos, ut desutetum meum, sed tantum de verbo et senabitur anima mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignos, ut desutetum meum, sed tantum de verbo et senabitur anima mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignos, ut desutetum meum, sed tantum de verbo et senabitur anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Quid retribuam Deum Iesum Christum, pro omnibus quae retribuit mihi, calicem salutaris accipiam et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostrae, et ab inimicis meis salvus ero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Quod ore sumpsimus Deum Iesum Christum puramente, capiamus de munere temperae fit nobis, remedium semper aeternam. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod sumpsit sanguis quem potavi adheriat visceribus meis et praesta et ut in me non remaniat scelerum macula quam pura et sancta reficerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, quoque apud te, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, O Trinitarian Theophany, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, eco corpo te, ite missa est. Deum gratia. Placea tibi sancta Trinitam obsequiem servitutis meae, et praesta et ut sacrificium quod oculis tuae majestatis igninus optali tibi set acceptabile mihique et omnibus pro quibus illud optali sit te miserante propitiabile per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum. Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. O Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Again, thank you for attending, and hello. I can't read it all, but Rosina, I can read part of it. I'll have to check it out, and I'll have to interpret that because I don't have the translator set up. I wonder if I can set up a translator. All of you, please go and sanctify all those who you meet today. Get in contact with your neighbor. Be friendly. We're gonna need our neighbors when things get harder as they keep destroying the monetary system. It's necessary before things get better, but that's why it's important to again be with your neighbor, know your neighbor, and share. Please go and sanctify all those you meet. We'll see you tomorrow morning at the same time. Thank you.